George Washington once said, "Discipline is the soul of an army." His unwavering determination and leadership shaped the destiny of a nation. Today, let his timeless wisdom inspire you to lead with courage and achieve greatness. It is far better to be alone than to be in bad company. If the freedom of speech is taken away, then dumb and silent we may be led, like sheep, to the slaughter. It is better to be alone than in bad company. Discipline is the soul of an army. It makes small numbers formidable, procures success to the weak, and esteem to all. Truth will ultimately prevail where there is pains to bring it to light. To be prepared for war is one of the most effective means of preserving peace. Liberty, when it begins to take root, is a plant of rapid growth. The Constitution is the guide which I never will abandon. The foolish and wicked practice of profane cursing and swearing is a vice so mean and low that every person of sense and character detests and despises it. Let us raise a standard to which the wise and honest can repair. The rest is in the hands of God. Associate with men of good quality if you esteem your own reputation, for it is better to be alone than in bad company. The basis of our political system is the right of the people to make and to alter their constitutions of government. Arbitrary power is most easily established on the ruins of liberty abused to licentiousness. Worry is the interest paid by those who borrow trouble. Happiness and moral duty are inseparably connected. Let your heart feel for the afflictions and distress of everyone, and let your hand give in proportion to your purse. Few men have virtue to withstand the highest bidder. Someday, following the example of the United States of America, there will be a United States of Europe. When we assumed the soldier, we did not lay aside the citizen. Let us with caution indulge the supposition that morality can be maintained without religion. Reason and experience both forbid us to expect that national morality can prevail in exclusion of religious principle. Laws made by common consent must not be trampled on by individuals. Friendship is a plant of slow growth and must undergo and withstand the shocks of adversity before it is entitled to the appellation. It is impossible to reason without arriving at a supreme being. My observation is that whenever one person is found adequate to the discharge of a duty, it is worse executed by two persons, and scarcely done at all if three or more are employed therein. The alternate domination of one faction over another, sharpened by the spirit of revenge natural to party dissension, which in different ages and countries has perpetrated the most horrid enormities, is itself a frightful despotism. But this leads at length to a more formal and permanent despotism. It may be laid down as a primary position, and the basis of our system that every citizen who enjoys the protection of a free government owes not only a proportion of his property, but even of his personal service to the defense of it. Nothing can be more hurtful to the service than the neglect of discipline, for that discipline, more than numbers, gives one army the superiority over another. I can only say that there is not a man living who wishes more sincerely than I do to see a plan adopted for the abolition of it. But there is only one proper and effectual mode by which it can be accomplished, and that is by legislative authority. And this, as far as my suffrage will go, shall never be wanting. Being no bigot myself to any mode of worship, I am disposed to indulge the professors of Christianity in the Church, that road to heaven, which to them shall seem the most direct, plainest, easiest, and least liable to exception. I am persuaded you will permit me to observe that the path of true piety is so plain as to require but little political direction. Bad seed is a robbery of the worst kind, for your pocketbook not only suffers by it, but your preparations are lost, and a season passes away unimproved. There can be no greater error than to expect, or calculate upon real favors from nation to nation. It is an illusion which experience must cure, which a just pride ought to discard. Lenience will operate with greater force, in some instances, than rigor. It is therefore my first wish to have all of my conduct distinguished by it. The Constitution vests the power of declaring war in Congress. Therefore, no offensive expedition of importance can be undertaken until after they shall have deliberated upon the subject and authorized such a measure. Let your discourse with men of business be short and comprehensive. A slender acquaintance with the world must convince every man that actions, not words, are the true criterion of the attachment of friends. I have no other view than to promote the public good, and am unambitious of honors not founded in the approbation of my country. Overgrown military establishments are under any form of government inauspicious to liberty, and are to be regarded as particularly hostile to republican liberty. Experience teaches us that it is much easier to prevent an enemy from posting themselves than it is to dislodge them after they have got possession. There is nothing which can better deserve your patronage than the promotion of science and literature. Knowledge is in every country the surest basis of public happiness. I beg you be persuaded that no one would be more zealous than myself to establish effectual barriers against the horrors of spiritual tyranny and every species of religious persecution. If we desire to avoid insult, we must be able to repel it. If we desire to secure peace, one of the most powerful instruments of our rising prosperity, it must be known that we are at all times ready for war. I walk on untrodden ground. There is scarcely any part of my conduct which may not hereafter be drawn into precedent. War. An act of violence whose object is to constrain the enemy, to accomplish our will. Labor to keep alive in your breast that little spark of celestial fire called conscience. I hope I shall possess firmness and virtue enough to maintain what I consider the most enviable of all titles, the character of an honest man. My first wish is to see this plague of mankind, war, banished from the earth. The time is near at hand which must determine whether Americans are to be free men or slaves. We should not look back, unless it is to derive useful lessons from past errors, and for the purpose of profiting by dearly bought experience. Mankind, when left to themselves, are unfit for their own government. Be courteous to all, but intimate with few, and let those few be well tried before you give them your confidence. True friendship is a plant of slow growth, and must undergo and withstand the shocks of adversity before it is entitled to the appellation. Observe good faith and justice toward all nations. Cultivate peace and harmony with all. Guard against the impostures of pretended patriotism. It is better to offer no excuse than a bad one. Thank you for watching.